91-year-old Clint Eastwood acts and directs in the new movie Cry Macho coming out in 2021. Is this movie any good? Will you like it? Oh boy. Let me tell you my review and judgment coming up next. Clint Eastwood, one of the most hardest working people in the movie industry probably ever, keeps cranking out a movie about every year in his 80s and 90s. God bless him for this. I'm all for older people in their 90s, 100s, however old they get, continuing to work and be creative. Here he plays to type. He stars as an American gringo, an ex-rodeo man who was fired on the job in 1979, but in 1980, for inexplicable reasons, his former boss hires him to kidnap the boss's son from Mexico. Well, the boss doesn't call it kidnapping, but it is. He's going to go down, the Clint Eastwood character, and take this kid back up to the United States for his former boss. Now here we're in Western noir territory, a well-established hybrid genre of Westerns and noirs. Clint Eastwood's cinematography here definitely is in that vein, as pretty much every interior shot is extremely dark. Anyway, Eastwood plays this gringo, a word used often in this movie, in Mexico, trying to find this kid, and once he does, trying to bring this kid back up to the United States. And like other Clint Eastwood movies, Gran Torino, for example, you have an old American paired with a young minority, and they're going to find a way to get along. Since Eastwood's had a hard life, and since this kid doesn't have a good upbringing, they're going to have to find a way to get together, become pseudo-father, pseudo-son, pseudo-grandfather, pseudo-grandson, and this is a redemption story of a sort. And I'm very appreciative of redemption stories. Been many dark things coming out, both on streaming services and in movie theaters with horror movies, especially at this time of year in the fall, being so popular. Anyway, there are a couple problems here. One, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen the entire movie, which I think the trailer includes the last shot of the movie. What is up with that? And then there's this other problem, which is the implausibility of a person selecting a 91-year-old man, or a very old man, in the case of the Clint Eastwood character in Cry Macho, going down into Mexico to do a dirty job. I'm sorry, but 91-year-olds, I know a few. My uncle is really fit and really rigorous. Nevertheless, I don't think he's up for it. I don't think hardly any 91-year-old is up for the mission in this movie. And some of the scenes in this where there's fighting, a couple fight scenes, very brief, and then Clint Eastwood driving a car and getting a couple pseudo car chases, just are too implausible to me. This movie never, ever made me think, well, this is a reasonable thing going on in this movie, or made me suspend my disbelief. I was always thinking, gee, Eastwood is way too old for this character. Maybe you should cast Kurt Russell. I don't have a problem with Eastwood's direction. I think he's still pretty good. Even though he works too fast, I think he gets some hammy and cheesy acting out of his actors. I don't think it's their fault either. He's just not getting enough takes, or good enough takes, in my opinion, sometimes. But as a director, he's fine. As an actor, maybe a better selection here. Although, of course, you get the iconic Clint Eastwood. Clearly, he's playing against all the other characters that he's ever played in his 50 to 60 year Hollywood history. I mean, some of the implausibility is he's punching out Mexican guys who are tough. You've seen him in Breaking Bad and other sort of crime drug lord shows, and these guys are just getting hit by 91-year-old. Come on. He's getting hit on by middle-aged Mexican women. He's gonna find romance in this movie, as you know from the trailer. And then there's the mission aspect of this. You know, a Western noir requires the hero basically to never sleep and to be out on his wits, and yet Eastwood, and he's going to sleep outside, but Eastwood, you know, if I'm this old, I'm not going to go on this mission. I'm going to be napping and enjoying the last parts of my life in leisure, not doing what he does here. Although, again, this is a redemption story, so that's what this movie is going for. Anyway, I found this movie almost too cheesy. In fact, there's so many unintentionally funny moments, as when Eastwood moves to go hit the kid, and the kid says, "Oh, you're pretty quick for an old guy." And we clearly see him move like a 90-year-old, and the kid is being completely serious. There's too many sort of TV movie aspects to this for me to recommend it, although I wish it was cheesier, because then you'd have the Mystery Science Theater 3000 treatment of this movie where you could just make fun of it. I don't wish that on Eastwood or anybody, but I did not like this movie at all. I'm going to give it 1.5 stars. Some of you are going to have a higher estimate of this because you'll see through that to see the romance and redemption stuff. What did you think of Cry Macho? What do you think of Eastwood's turn in this or anything else in this movie? Let us know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and thinking about movies very critically and carefully. Have a great day.